The flu's been going around, and I caught it. I was sick all week. I'm feeling better today, so I'm going to make some chicken and wild rice soup with a small artisan roll. I started with the roll. I found a pretty basic recipe and scaled it down for one person. 3/4 teaspoon of yeast, a 1/2 teaspoon of sugar, an 1/8 teaspoon of salt, and 90 milliliters of warm water. I stirred it up and gave it 5 minutes for the yeast to activate. Then I added a little less than 1 cup of bread flour. You want to use bread flour for artisan recipes. And started mixing. It took a minute for the water to hydrate all of the flour, but it did eventually. And since this is a small amount of dough, the rubber spatula was enough to knead it. And when the final dough didn't stick to it, I knew it was ready to rise for about 90 minutes. In the meanwhile, I got started on the other ingredients. I measured 1 cup of wild rice blend and rinsed it in a strainer for 2 minutes. I transferred it to my rice pot and added 1 3/4 cup of water. Now, wild rice takes twice as long to cook as white rice does. Still, I wanted it slightly undercooked since it was going to cook in the soup. So I set the fire to the lowest setting. Here's how it turned out. I moved on to the vegetables and the herbs. I diced 1/2 of an onion, 3 stalks of celery. I peeled, sliced, and diced 3 medium carrots, peeled and chopped several cloves of garlic, and lastly, a blend of fresh herbs, some rosemary, some thyme, and some sage. Of the 3, thyme takes the longest to remove from the stem. But then I chopped them all up and then added some dried marjoram to the mix to balance out all of that savory with just a little bit of sweet. The bread was done rising by now, so I preheated the oven and the pot that I was going to bake it in. While those heated, I shaped the dough by pulling and folding in a circle direction until it was rounded. Then I placed the dough fold side down on a floured countertop and smoothed out the top. To give the roll a typical artisan look, I scored the dough with a sharp paring knife. Now it was ready for baking. The timing was perfect because everything had just finished preheating. If it wasn't for the wild rice mix, I'd have baked this in my rice pot. The inner lid is great for trapping steam, and that's great for the bread. Instead, I used my cast iron saucepan. I placed everything in the pot and let this bake for 25 minutes. While that baked, I prepped the chicken for the soup. I washed and pat dry 4 breast tenders, cut out any tendons and excess fat, chopped it up and then seasoned it with some salt, black pepper, and onion powder. Now I was ready to cook the soup. I started by frying the chicken in some olive oil. Like the rice, I didn't fully cook the chicken because I knew it would cook in the soup. Set that aside, got a Dutch oven, and then added some olive oil and some butter. When they started to bubble, I sautéed the vegetables. When they had cooked down, I added the chicken and deglazed with some mirin. Next, I added the wild rice and the chopped herbs. I let the herbs cook for about a minute and then added 4 cups of water and 4 chicken bouillon cubes. I gave that a good mix, and then I covered the pot and let it simmer for 20 minutes. The bread had finished baking by now. Here's how it turned out. With no steam lid, I probably should have decreased the bake time about 20 minutes for a little less crust. It still looked yummy though. I decided to make myself a modified Southern cough syrup. Normally that means lemon juice with honey and a shot of bourbon, but I was out of lemon juice and honey. I substituted a bag of lemon tea and sugar. I had plenty of bourbon though. I added about an ounce and topped it off with more kettle water. I checked on the soup and it was time to add the last ingredient, 1 cup of heavy cream. The cream cools the soup, so after stirring, I covered the pot and let it reheat for another 10 minutes. It also got a tad thicker during that time. And here's the final dish. Now it was time to plate the meal. The chicken and wild rice soup. I made sure to get a lot of that broth. And the artisan roll. I grabbed the cough syrup and some butter, set my table, and sat down to eat. I could not wait to eat this. This tasted amazing, and I started to feel better already. The mirin and the herb blend gave it the perfect mix of sweet and savory that I like in all of my soups. The crust on the roll was really thick, but it worked. It absorbed the broth without getting soggy, and it gave a little more substance to the wild rice. And the inside of the roll was still soft enough to spread with butter. After eating this and drinking the tea, I was ready for a very long nap. After I cleaned up the dishes. What's your favorite soup? Do you eat it with bread? Let me know in the comments. Thank you for watching. Until next time.